Welcome back to the American Garage. It's time for our July update, but it's August already. Time's been getting away from me, but the progress on the car is coming along very nicely. So I thought today what I would do is I would show you some of the things that I'm working on, and also I'm going to do a couple things on screen with you. So the first thing is these are the seat belt mechanisms for the front seats. Now the back seat didn't have them, so I bought new ones for those. But I wanted to reuse these because they're good mechanisms. And the problem is that the webbing looks really bad. So we're going to replace this webbing, and I've got from my interior supply place, I got brand new webbing right here. So let me unwrap it here real quick. And so what we're going to do is we're going to replace this old looking stuff with brand new stuff. And I'm going to stick with black, and it's gonna look great. And now I did some research on this to figure out how this was supposed to be done, and basically it's simpler than you would think. So this has got to be vertical in order to get it to come out, because it only works in the vertical position. And so I'm going to pull the seat belt all the way out. Of course, it gets better looking as you get down to the very end, because down at the very end it never gets worn down here and doesn't see the light of day. And actually down here it looks pretty good. So I thought there was some big fancy way where you get in there and take it out and try to put it together. There's a simpler way. So what we're going to do, and this is what they do at upholstery shops, we're going to cut it. We're going to leave enough room here, so we'll cut it we'll leave about that much of it on there. And then we'll splice the brand new stuff on there. And we'll sew it in the pattern that they use for seatbelts to make it super strong. And just cut the old off, and the new will be on. So I'm going to do a little bit of that, and then I'm going to take you out in the garage and show you how we're doing with the car. I got a couple other things I want to tell you about. One was the windshield. I never got to tell you the story of going to California to get the windshield, so I'll do that in a little bit. Anyway, let's get started on replacing this. So first, I've got this out. I'm going to jam something in there, a screwdriver in there, so that it doesn't unroll on us. I got my awl, which is going to work well for that. There we go. And that will keep it from rolling back up. Now, with that in place, I can start putting the new one in. So, why don't you look over my shoulder? Okay, so here we are. We're going to cut right about here. Now we'll need to burn the edge so that it doesn't fray. Yes, I know it could be better with a lighter, but I couldn't find a lighter, so I'm just using a match. We want to burn that edge to seal it up. Let's see how we did. Okay, that looks like it's done really well. So that is ready. Now the next thing we'll take the piece that we cut off and we'll measure it and make the new one the same length. So first, I don't like this edge for starting, so we're gonna, this is on the brand new stuff, so we'll cut it nice and straight. And we'll burn that edge too. Before I burn it, let me get it cut so I can do all the edge burning at the same time. So I'm just gonna use the old one to measure the new one. Now see the hardware there. We're gonna make sure that the hardware gets put back on the same way. Okay, but for the meantime, let's just make sure we get the length right. Okay, and then it's gonna double back. So, right about there. That will be for the other seat. Burn these edges. I'll be right back. Okay, now that I got my ends all sealed up by burning them, I'm going to replicate this stitch right here. It's like they got a stitching in a box pattern with some X's in the middle, and using my really good Leathercraft threads, I can stitch this and do that exact same stitch right there. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take the brand new one and I'm just going to replicate it. So this part is easy. I just need to stitch it right like that, okay, on the new one. Okay, so using my super heavy duty leather thread and 2 needles is what I'm going to use this to put this together. Of course, if you have big industrial sewing machines that would make this go super fast, I don't have one of those. So I put a needle on both ends of the thread. Okay, now this thread is waxed, so it kind of sticks in the needles real nicely and it holds in there. Okay, so now I'm going to take one of my ends and then I'm going to start stitching the square, and just get it through there. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do, I just put one through. And now I'm going to take the second one and I'm going to put it right next door to it in the next spot, and I'm just going to get it started as well. With these two next to each other, I'll pull both of them through, maybe one at a time, and get the other one. Now I'll pull them both even, and now with the first one I'll go in through where the second hole came through and I'll put it through the other way, and that's what makes it super strong, because you're constantly weaving back and forth through the same holes. There we go. And back through it comes. Pull it tight. Now, I'm going to keep going on this until I get my little square pattern done right here, and I'll show you the result. Okay, now this is the original. And here is my new one. Now, granted, I'm going to criticize myself a little bit, and I probably could have made my lines just a little bit straighter, but it is plenty strong. Let's head out to the garage and see what we've got going on out there. I got the new quad headlights installed. Yes, these are older car headlights, but these are the European kind that have the removable light bulbs in them. And I like the look of these better, even though they come from a 1982 car. But I think they're looking great. I almost have them all wired up. Let me show you what's going on with the wiring. Now, here's the wiring diagram for the headlights. And we got these two lines here, the high beams, the white with the black and the white, one for the right and one for the left. And then we come down here and we have a yellow, black, and a yellow. These are the low beams. So these four altogether were the two light bulbs in the existing headlight setup, because there was only two bulbs instead of four. So this was all okay for just the outside high-low beams. Now the inside lights are high beam only. So the outside on the quads are the high lows and the inside are the high beams. So what I did was I made a new wiring diagram just for the high lows. Now before we go into that, on here you can see that each high beam has its own fuse, and the low beams, they also have their own fuse. So for those two lights there were four fuses, four 10-amp fuses. Now that's not enough to add this to it. So this is what we did. I took my high-low and my high lights. So this is one side, right? And the high-low, if we were just to put a wire over to the high, it would be too much amperage for that particular line. And you say, well, we could just put a bigger fuse in it. Well, then you're going to melt the wire, okay? So you don't want to do that. So what I did was I put the high on its own power from the battery. So I ran a line and I put it to a relay. Now, if you don't understand relays, let me explain it real quick. A relay is nothing more than a switch. Now, how are we going to make that switch go on? I could put, since I got a whole new circuit for it, I could have just put another switch on the dash. But that's inconvenient, and when you go to high beam, you want all of them to go on. So what I did was I put this relay in here. Now, the relay has, on this 86, a line going to the high beam of the existing high-low light on the high circuit. So what it does is it sends, when we turn the high beams on, it also sends electricity down here to the relay, and the relay sees this and says, oh, we got power coming in there, let's turn on. And so it lets the power go through the relay up to the other light, which is on its own source. Now, this has got a fuse in it, and it goes straight to the battery. Let me show you in the car. Now, the first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to put it in the fuse box with all the other fuses, because there's some empty spots in here. And also, there was a place for the fog lights. And there's a fuse spot already, and the fog lights also had this position number 1 for the relay. Now, I like that idea a lot because they've been very clean, very professional. It looked like it came from the factory like that. However, when I got to digging in here, I would have had to take the fuse block out completely and take it apart in order to get my wiring into the backside of where the relay is. And, well, there's a whole can of worms going in doing that. And I decided it would be better to not disturb this. So what I did is I made my own circuit. I started over here at the battery, because we got to get the power from the battery. And then I put this red line right here, and I got another fuse block. I know it's a big fuse block and there's only one fuse in it. Some people said I should have put an inline fuse in it, but I went ahead with this because in the future, if I decide to do something else, I have more spots. So battery to the fuse, and from this line it goes up front to the headlights. Here up behind the headlights is where I'm putting my relay. Here's the red wire coming in. Now I looked at my wiring diagram to make sure I knew which places to put which wires. So the power comes in here, and then there's a ground, which is brown in German cars, and it goes right here to where it's grounded. Now, the white wire is my signal wire. When the high beams go on the existing ones, it's going to tell the relay, turn the other high beams on and draw the power from here. And then once it does, it closes that circuit, and these cream colored ones, there's two of them, one for each of the front headlights, and they go out to each of the headlights, the inside ones, the new ones. And then from there, we go to the headlight itself. So the cream wire comes and supplies power to the inside high beams. And then this brown wire, you see I got these big yellow, that's just to cover the connectors. Okay, that's just shrink wrap. I didn't have any color coded for the brown for the shrink wrap. Anyway, so then the brown is the ground, goes all the way back to where I had the other place grounded. So it took me a lot of learning and a lot of studying to make sure that I got this right and that I put it together correctly. Now, of course, it's not as pretty as if we were able to go back to the factory fuse box, but I think it will be better in the long run because we're not disturbing the other circuits. That's just the low beams. There you see the high beams are on. Now, the only thing I have left to do is loom the wires so they stay secure and protected, and do the final mountings on these and put the grill on. So I wanted to show you what I was doing in the back. I took the back seat back out because I had to make wall panels for back here. They didn't have any. They got lost. They never came with the car. So I had to make my own. So I made my own, put the speakers in, I put a little armrest up here, and I made them out of plywood. Now they're out right, the back seat's out so I could get these all situated. As soon as I get the seat belts back in that we're just working on, then I will put these permanently in here. The only thing left is to make a cover for this right here. And then the back seat area will be complete. Alright, this is the new windshield. So there's a story behind this windshield and a saga that goes along with it. So I thought maybe I would share a little bit of that with you while I'm cleaning it up here. I am using Sarah's Stay Glassy, and I tell you what, I'm using this on purpose for a special reason, not just because I like Sarah, but because this is an ammonia-free glass cleaner. And why is ammonia-free important? Well, ammonia is bad for plastic. And you think, well, this is a glass windshield. Well, it is, but on the inside, we put tinning. Well, not on the windshield, not yet anyway, but window tinning on the car, right? And window tinning is essentially plastic. So you don't want to use Windex or some kind of regular glass cleaner that's ammonia-based, because it'll hurt your tinning. So Sarah had made this stuff up that doesn't have any ammonia in it for that very reason. Now, of course, we like airplanes around here too. We can't use glass cleaner on the windows of an airplane, of course, because they're plastic. So we have special cleaners for that. But this is glass, and the Stay Glassy seems to be doing a wonderful job cleaning. But that's not what I wanted to tell you about. So this windshield, I broke it, right? I broke the original because I wanted to take the windows out so we can get a really good paint job, which we did. And I got all the other windows out, and I thought for sure, I'm going to get this window out, no problem. And I'm taking it out, and I crack it. I thought, no big deal, we'll just get another one, right? On a classic car, that can be a problem. So I didn't realize when I broke it that it's very difficult to replace. So I ended up going through every glass company. Nobody had them. But to Bennett out in California, they have them specially made. And I was able to buy one from them. However, they didn't want to ship it since it was a windshield going from California to Texas. So they wanted me to make my own arrangements. At first I thought, well, that's a deal breaker. But it was the only place I could find a windshield for the car, since they have them made special for the cars that they restore. They restore Coupes, they restore 4000s, and what they're really known for is restoring the Quattros, the original Quattros, which uses the same body as this car. So they have them specially made. So I was able to buy one from them. As luck would have it, one of my airplanes, we had to rebuild the engine. And after an engine rebuild, you have to break it in. Okay? So we needed 25 hours of break-in time anyway. So we used the airplane to break in the engine, to fly out to California, to get the windshield, fly it back, finish the break-in while we were doing that, and retrieve the windshield. So that's what we did. I'm going to roll a little bit of a video right now showing you some of the trip. Welcome back to the American Garage. Today we're going to take another little flight adventure. I got David with me, one of my trusty flight instructors, fellow flight instructors. We're going to go out to Cali and pick up a windshield for the car. Most of the first leg. Well, we made our first major fuel stop in Ozona, out in West Texas. On our way out, we'll be stopping overnight in Arizona, probably Tucson, and then we're going to be heading on to California tomorrow. But for now, we're going to stop here in Ozona, get some lunch, get some fuel, and then we'll be on our way. Well, we landed in Las Cruces, New Mexico on our way, and the trip is going fine. were lucky enough to have to break in JJ's engine. We flew out to California, to Davis, California, where 2 Bennett has their shop. And we picked up the windshield from them, which we now loaded into the back of the airplane, which we'll bring home without breaking. Now, when we got out there, Andrew, the owner of 2 Bennett, was very gracious, and he had one of his workers bring the windshield out to the airport so we could put it in the airplane. And then his worker extended an invitation from Andrew that he invited us to his facility to tour 2 Bennett, where they restore all these Quattros, and then he would take us to dinner and put us in one of the hotels where we could get a discount, where he had some special deals going on. So we decided we'd do that. So we went, and Andrew was very hospitable, and I got to tour 2 Bennett and their whole facility. Now, I know, don't kill me, but I didn't shoot any video while I was in there because he was so kind to show us around and show us what was going on there that I was attentive to my host, and I thought it would be rude to shoot video of the place while we were doing this. So I didn't get any video there, but David, my co-pilot, he shot a couple pictures. We got this one picture of the showroom, one of the cars that they had restored. So anyway, that's the story that came behind this. So we flew out there, we got the windshield, visited with Andrew, we flew home with the windshield, got it back here, and had my local installer install it for me. And voila, we're ready to roll. So that's a little bit of the saga, what's been going on in the last month or so on the Audi Coupe GT. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to get back to work. I have been working on the upholstery. That's going to be the main slowdown right there. I have been hand stitching the whole interior just about. I hand stitched the driver's seat, mostly finished with the passenger seat. I'll shoot a little video showing you how to put some of that together. Yeah, I had an upholstery guy, and he let me come over to his shop, and he taught me a lot of things about upholstery using his sewing machine over there. But I don't have a sewing machine, so I used my Leathercraft needles and just started going after it in front of the TV at night and watching movies and stitching. I did that for seems like weeks now. So I'll show you the result on that later on, and we'll do a little video on how to put a piece of upholstery together, a seat or something. So look forward for that, and for now, that's it from the American Garage. This is Steve. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching the American Garage. If you like this video, hit the like button and leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe.